Good morning and welcome back to Fresh Brew Marketing's YouTube channel. In today's In Conversation With, I'm talking with Claire Quick, owner of Practical Health, about the things we are doing or not doing to take care of ourselves during this time in lockdown. So stay tuned, it's coming up all after this. Thank you, Claire, so much for joining us on In Today's Conversation With.
It's okay. Thank you for having me.
Good. I want to jump straight in, Claire. So, you and I have worked together for many years in the past, and you have now embarked on this amazing journey that you call Practical Health. So I just wanted to know a little bit more about it. So after so many years of your own health and fitness and, in your own life, give us a little bit of background as to why you chose to make this another career path after, so many years in the corporate world.
Yeah, sure. So I think my beginning with health and fitness started when I was probably in my teenage years, but not in a good way. I was more like a victim of the whole fitness and diet industry. So I was in a bad place. And then in my 20s, I really getting to start training, and I discovered martial arts. I think when we were working together, actually.
Yes.
And I started doing martial arts and competing and training and grading. And that opened a whole new world for me. So the whole health, fitness.
I mean, you were like hardcore, as I remember. You were probably in the best shape I've ever seen you. You were training all the time, taking part. Like, you were so serious about your martial arts. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think I was a lot into partying and smoking a lot and drinking a lot and touching stuff I shouldn't have tried. And so I think all this energy I was spending on this night out, I just transfer it to all this martial arts stuff. Yeah. And I got really into it. I was competing, I was fighting, but I was very extreme about it.
Right.
And I was training 12 hours a week, working 40 hours a week. So I was very, very extreme about it. But I did like it because it fit my lifestyle at the time. And a few years ago, about 5 years ago, my dad passed. And that kind of put a lot of things back in perspective and kind of showed me that it's all about having a balanced life and, take care of yourself and take care of your health and take care of your fitness, but don't go extreme into anything. And as I learned, so I spent the last, I think 5 or 6 years, probably 6 years, retraining in nutrition and, in all the wellness and health world. And I realized that so many women in particular are trying to do it all. They try to do everything and they're so busy and they're so tired, they're so busy, they're so exhausted, and they just try to do everything and they completely lose this whole aspect of having a balance in their life. And this is really what I work on, and I want really to have as many women as possible to try to take them from everything is busy, but you have to take care of yourself. And you don't have to be doing yoga for 2 hours every morning before you start your day. There's a practical way of doing it. So yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about.
It's such a much more a holistic approach, because you look at it and for the first time you're talking about that, it makes sense to me, because you look at the one extreme and it's like, it is, I need to stay in shape, I need to be fit, I need to look a certain way, versus I'm taking care of myself. It's such a different message. And I mean, we joke about the memes. I mean, you see them all the time, the memes and the cartoons that we see on social media about, oh, I'm eating too much, I'm drinking too much, what are you going to look like when you leave lockdown, right? I mean, we're not doing enough exercise, but yet behind all of these jokes, there's a far more serious issue actually, and that is that we're not taking care of ourselves. So what is it about this lockdown period that has resulted in so many people just kind of giving up and saying, well, I can't go out, so I may as well just eat whatever's in my cupboard, and I might as well just drink, because whatever. Why do we do that?
I don't think people have actually given up, but there is something, a theory, which was established by Abraham Maslow. I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly, in 1943, which is the pyramid of motivation.
Yes.
And it kind of explains how people get motivated and and what they need, and is a pyramid of needs. So the basic layer is your physiological needs. So you need air, water, food, rest. So basically what you need to be alive. Then the other layer is this need of security. So people need to feel secure in their job, in their money. They need to have, property. And so it's all this need for security. Then there is a need for love and belonging. So you have family, you have friends, you have relationships. Then you have the need for self-esteem and confidence and respect. And at the top of this pyramid, you have the need for self-actualization, which is the desire of being a better version of yourself. And I think what this lockdown has done is it has completely thrown this whole basis of physiological needs and need of security out of balance. And it has completely shaken up everything, because for a while you couldn't find food.
Yeah.
So your whole physiological needs, like, it was all completely messed up. You couldn't find food. You couldn't find the food you needed. Your need for security. You didn't know if you're going to be healthy. You didn't know if you're going to use a job. And the theory is that you can't progress up in this pyramid until the lower level of your needs is met. So being fit, being super healthy, being all the jazz, it's all at the top of the pyramid. It's a self-actualization. It's being a better version of yourself. But you can't get there if your physiological needs are in danger, and if all of these basic needs you have are not there. And I think that's what happened for a lot of people, is they didn't have all the securities they need, and then they couldn't do the rest. And the other thing is that lockdown has been a massive change to our lifestyle, and people react to change differently. And you have steps to change, to accept the change. So you have the step for death, like when you have the step of grieving steps. It's the same step for change. And some people go through these steps a lot in different pace. Some people have been affected by the lockdown differently. Some people have been able to work from home. Some people completely lost their jobs. And I think a lot of people, if you put all this change, massive change, along with this whole pyramid of needs that has completely shaken up, I mean, it's a recipe for chaos. And then people have different character and personalities, and they will react differently. So I don't think some people have given up. I think some people just couldn't cope.
It's so complex, and the way that you're explaining it makes so much sense. It's so complex, and no wonder, because and then you throw into the mix the fact that people are substituting food to be able to feel secure, to be able to feel okay, and it's all mixed up, and it makes so much sense what you say.
So then you put the whole emotional eating on top of it, and the mindless eating, and it's such a big thing, and it's something we have never seen.
Yes.
I mean, I talked during the lockdown to my grandma, who is 91. And I asked her during her life with the war and everything if she has ever seen anything like that. And she said she hasn't.
Really?
So you do realize that it's such a weird, complicated situation we're in. And then you have all this expectation as well. And social media is putting so much expectation and stress. And you're going to, it's just such a big thing. Yeah.
And I think that's where we go wrong, is we aren't recognizing what the reality is. So we're not recognizing the fact that, hang on, the reason why I've just eaten an entire huge bag of crisps is not because I was hungry. It's because I'm not sure if I'm going to have a job next week. Or, I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from, or, all of that stuff. But being able to recognize that is, I'm sure, like the first step to be able to go, okay, hang on, let me make a cognitive decision here to do something correctly, or to do something that I need, that is healthy for me and that is right for me. So, I mean, all of this plays a big part in our mental well-being. I mean, obviously, the lockdown itself is already causing so much anxiety to people. And there's a new level of anxiety that many have never had to manage before, just exactly as your grandmother was saying. It's just a completely different world. So add to this that we're not eating well or exercising. What mental and emotional issues are we seeing because of this lifestyle, the sedentary lifestyle of us just eating and not doing much? What have you seen?
I think there's been two sort of people. Some people who've been actually moving a lot more, because they were like, oh, I have all this time now to get active and things. So a lot of people have been a lot more active. The nutrition side of it have been, I think, about the same for everybody. No one has gone into like a massive detox or anything, or eating super healthy. but that's because I think it was a bit difficult to find food anyway. So, but then people have been a lot more active, and some, as you said, have been a lot more sedentary and just binge watching Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is we are human beings, but we have basic animal needs. If you like, we need fresh air, we need sunshine. We like an indoor plant.
Yeah.
We need to go out. We need to see some vitamin D.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that, it really affects your mental health, and it can cause depression, anxiety. And so I think the next thing we're gonna see is when you're gonna go back to work and to offices and to public transport and all these busy places, people who have been locked at home for weeks and months, they're gonna have this kind of people anxiety and the going outside anxiety. And it's not something we've seen before either. So
it's really strange you say that, because I was speaking to my mom last night, and she's independent. She also does her own thing at the moment. And in South Africa, they've been restricted on movement. I've not knocked my mic. In South Africa, they've been restricted on movement. And she, now the restriction is lifted a little bit so she can get out. But she said to me, she is so scared to just drive to the next town to do her shopping, because is she allowed? Isn't she allowed? It's almost like they've been trained to think in a certain way, and now suddenly she has to make an adjustment. And something that she used to do almost daily is now the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, I have more anxiety about going to the shop for the sake of going to the shop with whatever restrictions they're going to have and where can you stand, than actually going to the shop with the fear of catching the virus.
Yes.
So it's very weird.
Yeah.
And so if you add this pressure, this anxiety, and then the anxiety which is coming, and the pressure people are putting on themselves, I mean, I think it's a very good time for people to just listen to themselves and be kind with themselves, and having some awareness of what they're going through, and not trying to push through it too much either.
Yeah. So you obviously work with some of your clients from a practical health point of view to get them focused. Okay. And I mean, I'm already learning just from this 20-minute conversation we're having, but what are some of the things that you do to help them get focused and to realize what they need to do to start taking better care of themselves?
Yeah. So I think the first step, when they come to see me, they're already having some awareness of something that they need. So they usually do the awareness part of it themselves. The 3 tools I really use, especially these days, is meditation. I mean, I am a big meditation believer. Visualization. So visualize the things. If you're scared of going somewhere, I make them do a visualization exercise of seeing themselves going there and that everything is fine. And it takes the anxiety away. All right, I really work with affirmations. So having some positive affirmation, because the way we talk to ourselves isn't great. I'm sure you would not talk to your best friend the same way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that we do that. So, and you see the power of words and the power of talking. I really train my clients to just talk to themselves differently. And affirmations are just great for that. So that's kind of like the 3 tools I use. And then I really use visual reminders to get them focused, because usually people get very motivated, very focused for 48 hours.
Yes.
And the third day, you're just like, this is so yesterday. Yeah, this is so yesterday. So, I mean, visual reminders are great. I have tons of visual reminders in my house. My husband can't stand it anymore. There are periods of time where the fridge is just covered of Post-it notes and paper, and that's some everywhere. But it works. Visual reminder works. And that's something that is great, even if it's just one word or something just to bring you back to this place where you're focused and you're centered. And that is so important.
And so if we look at physically, so I mean, I'm seeing so many amazing exercise classes that have moved from the practical and, real life onto online. I mean, I take part in some regular Pilates classes, which is fantastic. And I do it in my living room. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you think perspectives have changed about living well? And what do you think our approach to well-being will be when we move out of lockdown? Do you think the changes we've made in being able to do these things at home will remain? Or do you think we're going to go back to the way way that we've always done it, flooding gyms and exercise classes and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's very tricky. So people like routine. We are routine kind of people. We are habit kind of people. We always do the same thing the same way. Yeah. And during this lockdown, we kind of paused. And I mean, how many times have you told yourself, oh, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to exercise. I wish I had more time to do this.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't know, the universe heard us all and say, okay, fine, I'm going to pause everybody for 2 months.
Make time.
I'm going to give you time, all of you, for 2 months, and you're going to, sort your stuff out. Yeah. And a lot of people have had to find different ways. I mean, I had to find different ways. Yeah. I have no exercise equipment in my house, and I go to the gym every day. So suddenly being stuck at home, I was like, oh, what? I hate sweating at home. Yeah. I am not a home exercise person. Yeah. I don't like waking up in the morning. And I've been loving this new routine that I created. Yeah. But I know that with this new routine, I don't start work until 10 in the morning. Because I do my workout in the morning, I take my time, I with the dog, but I've been loving it. But equally, I know that when I go back to work, I don't think I can just turn up at 10 every morning. It's not going to work very well. Well, so I wish, but so we're gonna have all of us to find a balance between what are our professional expectation and what did we like from this letter that we want to take away from it. And I think it's going to be a lot of personal work and personal reflection of thinking of what didn't work before. So I found, for me, for instance, I used to go to a CrossFit gym, which is quite far away from my home, after work, and just commuting there took like an hour and a half every day for a 45-minute workout. But I've been loving it. So I was like, yeah, it's fine. And now I'm realizing, actually, maybe I don't need this anymore. It was so much money, so much time commuting, so much time in my car, when I can get a good workout from home, which I didn't know I could. So maybe I'm going to try to find a balance between the two. And everybody going to have to try to think about, try to see what didn't work before and what did you enjoy from the lockdown, and then put everything down and try to see what you can implement, and really don't go back to how it was before, because for most of us, it wasn't really working. Yeah. So you kind of want to find we can't just live on lockdown forever. Yeah. But you want to find a balance that is going to make it work.
And Clary, I ask everybody this that I interview, but what have you learned from this time in lockdown? I know that you've still continued working, but obviously restricted movement, and you not being able to get to the gym. What have you learned this lockdown, and how has it changed the way that you approach your own business and planning your own business and how you do things in future?
I think I learned more that we can adapt. So we adapt, and I'm a very, very routine person. So the first hour of my day, I don't even know what's happening. It's just, I'm automated. And I've always been a very routine person. So for me, having this lockdown was, how I'm going to cope. Yeah. And actually, I adapt. And I see a lot of people as well who adapt differently, but we all adapt. Yeah. So I think that was a big takeaway, is that we can all adapt. And on a business side of things, I realized how important it is to have an online presence. Yeah. Especially now, because you don't know I hope not, but you don't know if something like this is going to happen again.
Absolutely.
And if you want on a business side of things, if you want things to continue, you have to be online. And I think that people are a lot more online than before as well. And this lockdown has bring kind of like all generation together on an online space, which I think is very good.
Yeah. And so, it's interesting because it's exactly as you say, we were forced, because before we'd say, we don't really have the time for this, but we've been forced to do things. And companies who in the past maybe were saying, we'll get to it when we have time, have now been forced to make their workforce digital, to make their communications digital, all of that, and to think digitally. I was talking to, some of the people that are in this series of interviews. There's a chap that I was speaking to from the events industry that also said, from an events point of view, these massive exhibitions have had to completely redevelop the way they sell themselves, how they, you know, they still need to go on, they still need to happen, but they're looking now seriously at hybrid models and stuff like that, which will not stop. It will still continue, you know, this online digital option for a lot of the clients. So and a dog trainer that I was talking to as well, the same thing. She is now able to offer virtual one-on-one meetings, and it's not something that has to stop. It's basically an opening up of an entirely new market, and it's really dependent on whether people have taken advantage of that now or not, you know. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I started creating my wellness program, but on only online version of it. So it's going to be a portal, and people and women can go and follow the program at their own pace, wherever their pace is. And it's all going to be online, and all the chat going to be online, all the videos going to be available. Because I think it's very important for people to have access to what they need whenever they need, at the times they need. And I mean, the online space is just brilliant to do that.
Fantastic. That's so exciting. Well, on that note, thank you so much for being part of this conversation today. I appreciate it. I could sit and chat to you for ages. Thank you so much.
It was nice to chat with you.
Yeah, it's good to catch
up. And to see
you. Yes, exactly. It's been a few years, but it's, you know, this is better than nothing at the moment. But just a quick message to all our viewers. So I will make sure to put Claire's contact details to Practical Health in the description of this video. So if you want to get in touch with Claire and understand a little bit more about how she's helping people kind of just realign their focus, all of the details will be in the description. But until we chat again, take care of yourselves and keep a lookout for the next video. See you soon. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks. Bye.